Another element that is really important to maximize muscle recruitment is to understand that the muscle being stretched the most in an exercise is the muscle that will be recruited the most. That's important, for example, when you're trying to understand the value of high bar squatting, low bar squatting, for example. If I'm doing a low bar squat, I'm stretching more my posterior chain than my quads because my tibia stays perpendicular here. If I'm doing a high bar squat with a more upright posture, then my quads are being stretched a lot more than the posterior chain, which means that the high bar squat will target the quads a lot more because I'm stretching that muscle more. So by stretching a muscle more, you increase its recruitment, and you also increase the recruitment of the fast twitch fibers, which have the greatest growth potential. Now, it's also important when you're trying to selectively recruit a muscle with an exercise. Let's say, for example, a dumbbell fly. A dumbbell fly, in theory, it is a pectoral exercise. In reality, it could hit the anterior deltoid, it could hit the biceps, it could hit the brachialis, or it could hit the chest, depending on how you do the movement. So for example, if Pascal here keeps his elbow fully locked, so elbow straight, and then he does the fly like this, right? That's going to be held on the biceps and also at the attachment here, the bicep attaching on the shoulder. That's right. Because the biceps is the muscle that is being stretched the most. I'm creating lots of tension on that muscle, which is first hard on the shoulder joint because the bicep attaches here, but also will recruit the biceps more than the chest because it's the muscle being pulled on the most. Now, so that's why we want the elbows to be slightly bent. Now, let's say that he would lower with the dumbbells closer to his ears. He would stretch the anterior deltoid a bit more and the upper fibers of the chest. So he would recruit more front delt and upper chest, which might not be what we want to recruit the lower portion. Now, so he needs to find the position for him where he feels the greatest stretch in the pectoral, not in the shoulder or bicep muscle. So do a few reps and try to find what is the best position for you. You can also play with the position of your hands. Sometimes just going a bit more here will increase recruitment of the chest, for example. So you can see the chest firing nicely. See, that's the best position for him. So he's slightly opening up his hands and staying below the shoulder joint. So it's important when you do an exercise that is supposed to target one muscle, that you find the angle where you feel the selected or targeted muscle being stretched the most. That's also a reason why full range of motion movements tend to be slightly more effective for hypertrophy purposes. Now, there's an application for partial range of motion occlusion training, but that's beside the scope of this capsule. But when doing regular lifting, the key to making a muscle growth is stretching that muscle under load, then making that muscle contract after being stretched under load. So the muscle being stretched the most is the muscle that will be recruited the most. Very important mechanical principle to remember, especially when talking about targeting exercises for a specific muscle group.